And we're live. Howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Disruptive Technology Hangout. So I'm super excited because today Larry sent me an email telling me about something that I've never ever heard of before, Willow glass. So before we get to filling you in on all about the amazing disruptive technology that is Willow glass, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Trisha Lee. I'm up in Alberta, Canada. And with me is my partner, Laurier Lever, and he is the current Vice President of Development and CEO for King Sunshine Solar Systems and TK Environmental. And we've been working together since 2009. And before that, in about 2007, Larry sold his company, or the company that he had interest in, Suncast Polyurethanes, and that company used patented technology that Larry developed in order to recycle pipeline pigs, and then later for creating pump liners for up in Fort McMurray for the big oil sands project. And so the company kind of went away from recycling and environmental pursuits and started just working with the oil patch. So Larry decided to get out of that business and has been working with TK Environmental. And so today Larry is going to talk to us about something brand new that's just come out. I believe he said it was developed by Corning, which if there's any ladies out there watching, you might be familiar with that. It's the same company that makes the awesome bakeware, the glass baking sheets and casserole dishes, and it's called. And so the same company has developed Willow glass. So Larry, why don't you come out here and tell our viewers about what Willow glass is?
Okay. Willow glass is a new invention, I think.
Hello? Awesome.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. Loud and clear.
All right. Willow glass is a new invention from Corning, the makers of Corningware and all sorts of different kitchenware. They've kind of got moved away from kitchenware, and now they're starting to look at inventions for a lot of inventions for the solar industry. And so one of the first ones I found quite unique is called Willow glass. And what Willow glass is, it's glass which has got incredible properties that are similar to borosilicate glass. However, this glass is flexible. It can be bent. It can be 1 inch, or sorry, it's as thin as paper, and it can be bent in half. So if you take a strip that's about 6 inches long or a foot or 12 inches long, you can bend it end to end without problem, and it won't break. So this glass is going to completely revolutionize the glass industry, simply because it's got, as I mentioned, incredible properties. As most people know, borosilicate glass, well, maybe some people don't know, it's similar to, well, it's the same as Pyrex. And so Pyrex sort of stuff, they have baking pans that are glassware that you can cook stuff in your oven with at a very high temperature, and the glass won't break, won't shatter. It can handle really high temperatures. And so they're already using borosilicate glass in a lot of the solar trough applications. However, this product was actually invented for advertising, as a covering to put over advertising to keep the whatever paper is being advertised, to keep it protected. So one of the cool things about this, the new type of glass, is it can also be bonded to other substrates like aluminum and stainless steel, And when you bond it to stainless steel, I've seen tests where they've actually put the stainless steel on the ground with the borosilicate glass attached to it, and they drop a giant ball bearing down on it, basically just dropping it from shoulder height all the way down to this little piece, and the barrel ball bearing just bounces right off. Doesn't even crack the glass or anything like that. So it can. The future of this glass seems really bright, simply because it's almost like working with a sheet of mylar. So, um, but it has just better properties. That I think the main property that I find the most exciting about is this high temperature range, 600 degrees Celsius, which is quite hot. I don't even know if Pyrex can go that high. Um, so it's super thin, super lightweight. So we could see applications for this product being used for windows uh, of all different types. Windows on your house. If you can imagine the windows of your house, instead of being an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch thick, being as thick as a sheet of paper, it really means windows can be made a lot lighter. Windows can be made with several panes. So when you look at the insulating properties of a say a double pane or triple pane window, as you add panes to the window, you decrease the amount of sound that can be transmitted through the window. But the main thing is you reduce the amount of air temperature. It works almost like fiberglass insulating. So the more sheets you have, the higher R value you'll be able to attain. So what this really means is you could, since the glass is as thin as paper, you could have panes of glass that are super lightweight and have maybe 50 panes of glass, which sounds kind of ridiculous. However, if you just have a thin air gap between each pane of glass, you're going to have higher insulation properties. So I think this is the main thing that I find most fascinating is the use of this type of glass for insulating windows, that when you install them on a building, I don't know if anyone's started doing this. I don't know a lot about the double and triple pane or glazing of windows. However, I do know that a triple pane window will insulate even better than a double pane window. So we're going to see some real changes here, I think, as far as the construction industry goes. Although this product was invented for advertising purposes, sometimes they come up with inventions that have one purpose in mind. However, once more entrepreneurs have a look at this product, you start visualizing several applications for this new product. And I think with the way things are going to be going, with reduction of greenhouse gases, I can foresee Willow glass replacing almost every type of window that is used in a building. I think it's that uh, uh, disruptive a technology that it's going to make regular glass obsolete, simply because it's incredible stuff. It's hard to break. I've noticed how they can handle this. There's, like I say, there's not a lot of this information on the internet, but I've been in touch with Corning, and they said processing the stuff, I believe it was about a year ago that I had contact with one of their distributors, and I believe that they said you can actually cut this glass with a pair of scissors. And so think about it. That's try cutting a pane of glass with a pair of scissors. You're going to get cut and you're going to break your scissors. So there's so many different applications that can really come to mind with this product. Keep in mind it's flexible. So if it was to be used on, say, a window that's 5 feet by 4 feet, it's going to have some flexibility to it. But I don't think that's really going to matter. I don't think, as long as there's, let's say, for example, the wind is blowing, as long as those windows are secured around the edges and what's the word I'm looking for? Stressed or stretched so that they won't move. Yeah, I think this is going to be something really to watch. And so I guess if you're still, I don't know if you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, definitely. That I know that you've already thought of ways that this could be used outside of protecting advertisements. Have you thought of any other things?
I don't want to get
I know, but have you thought?
I don't want to get too. Sorry.
Oh, I just thought I was just wondering if you had any other ideas that where this could be applicable.
Well, there's that one idea I'm working on with a solar application, but I'm not talking too much about it because I don't want to give this one away, simply because it's got great potential. Um, but when you think of replacing windows on houses, um, I'm not sure if the weight of windows really plays a huge part in the construction industry. I was hoping Dan was going to join us on this hangout, but because he's kind of our construction guy for the company, and he would have a lot more to say about the construction side. However, it's kind of common sense. If you've got a window which is far lighter than I can imagine a triple pane window is probably a pretty heavy ass type of window compared to most, simply because it's thick glass. So if it's thinner glass and can do the same thing, it's going to be much lighter and probably easier for workers to work with when installing it into a building.
But I don't. Those triple pane windows are actually quite a bit lighter than traditional glass, because I don't know, but yeah, they're still heavy compared to what you're talking about. I'm sure, big time. So you think that, do you think that potentially they will want to make the glass, or is it possible to make the glass thicker and still have it be flexible? And then would there be other applications for a flexible glass material that would be thicker than that? Because I'm sure, like, if they can make it that thin, they can probably, or they're probably working on making it thicker for other applications already. But can you kind of perceive what they might be working on behind the scenes?
I don't think they would want to make it thicker because you would probably start stiffening it up. Glass is glass, and so I think the reason why it's flexible, it's called a roll to roll process, the way to manufacture it. So it's a proprietary process, but there's a lot of films, plastic films that are also made roll to roll, and so I imagine the process of making these to watch how they actually make this type of glass. It would involve just replacing the parts of roll to roll plastic film by using glass. So if you're, like I say, if you were to go thicker with it, you'd start ending up with the properties of thick glass, which is, I don't think their intentions would be. I think they've got the thickness that they really, knowing the history of Corning is like way ahead of a lot of other companies when it comes to technology involving glass, whereas we don't. Pyrex belongs to Corning. They invented it. So what they come up with, they've probably put a lot of thought into uh, issues like the thickness. Now, when it comes to solar applications, I think this is also going to be a really huge part of solar panels, like photovoltaics, possibly solar heat panels, like for water. Uh, and so simply because they're thinner. So if you take away a lot of the weight that is on a standard solar panel, which is a lot of that weight is glass, when you take that weight away, now you're looking at putting something onto a building where today uh, the the weight of solar panels is a huge issue because a lot of roofs were designed not to have something put on them, so they can only handle a certain amount of extra weight. Uh, Now, if you can make a solar panel that is really like a fraction of the weight of a standard solar panel, that now means you can put them on very light structures um, that are not designed to have any more weight added to them. So it'll be interesting to see where the solar industry or photovoltaic industry in particular goes with this product. I'm not sure. I know that just based on the design of this glass, if you were to replace the tempered glass or the toughened glass that they use on solar panels, photovoltaics, this stuff is way thinner, and it is, I wouldn't say it's bulletproof, but man, is this, it's very impressive properties regarding impact. So you talk about hailstorms, you talk about sandstorms in the desert. I think they would have minimal effect on this glass if used in solar applications like photovoltaics. Minimal effect.
Awesome. Uh, yeah, it's pretty neat stuff. So where where are they initially? So initially they're using it. They developed it to protect advertisement. Is that the only place that they're using it thus far, or have you seen that other entrepreneurs are already pursuing this material for projects or?
I think there are more entrepreneurs that are going to be working with it. However, it is such a new product that the people that are working with it are probably keeping a really low profile simply because who knows what they might be using it for. Um, I guess the electronic,
And then
they want to use
I guess
it on your cell phones. So you have a smartphone, you can already buy Willow glass. They don't call it Willow glass covers. I think they call it Gorilla Glass or something like that, which is designed to protect your screen on your phone. I know my son's got a smartphone and his screen is completely cracked. So if you attach Willow glass onto your cell phone, guess what? You're not going to crack the glass. Televisions, computers, uh, I think these are kind of the main target market that Corning is looking at.
So really, the durability that makes it stand out. So if we had this willow glass over the screen, if something hit the screen, it wouldn't wreck it the way that it is now.
Exactly.
So that's super valuable for
It's like
people.
a protective
And
shield.
then cleaning it, because I know glass, there's always an issue in cleaning glass that it's streaks and stuff like that. And then I don't know what other questions I have about it. It's brand new to me, so I'm just kind of mulling it over. So they developed it to protect advertising. So that's like, why is it that this is better than just using like say plastic? Like, because isn't that typically how advertisements were protected was with plastic, or did they use like breakable glass or
It's an optic issue. Apparently, Willow.
using the Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, you interrupted me. I can't. I don't know what you said. Were you saying something?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the willow glass is probably withstands the environment far better than any kind of plastic. Because as most people know, plastics will degrade in the sun. A lot of clear plastics are not UV stabilized. So when you look at laminating something, which is generally a big way they protect stuff, that laminate stuff won't last outdoors. Glass over some kind of display, whether it's an LED or and think about the waterproofing side too, right? So you can have LED, full color LCD screens like you see on the street, those big giant signs that are like giant televisions. That would probably be a big application simply to protect it from the elements. So because it's glass, glass is very transparent. It's more transparent than any plastic film that I've seen. Uh, I think they call it luminescence or something. I can't remember what exactly it's called. However, it very it does not yellow in the sun like polycarbonate. You could or sorry, not polycarbonate, but polypropylene. So that means you've got the properties of polypropylene, the flexibility. Polypropylene, for those who don't know, is what they call bulletproof glass. So when you have thick polypropylene, you can fire a bullet into it. And this was something my dad actually pioneered back in the 60s and 70s. I remember him having a sample of polypropylene bulletproof glass, and they fired a Magnum 44 shell into the glass in a test, and it was amazing. You could actually see the bullet stuck in the center of the polypropylene glass. This was about an inch thick sample that he had that he used for marketing purposes to banks and security applications. I got a funny feeling this willow glass might also be used for that application. Um, Not 100% sure, just simply because it's so new. I don't know if anybody's really thought about it that way yet. So it's really up to the entrepreneur's imagination when they've got an application or a situation that requires glass. You know, you can look at like I say, with the double pane, triple pane window situation, you can have very hot ovens where you want to see what's going on. And instead of having a triple pane glass window, you have, who knows, 16 panes of this willow glass, which would create way better insulation properties. So yeah, I think it's an optic issue. Willow glass, it kind of makes you wonder because it's glass. Your glasses that you're wearing right now, they're more than likely a polypropylene or polycarbonate glass. Both those glass, or sorry, not polypropylene, more than likely polycarbonate. Um, those lenses will scratch. They're easily scratched, even if they do put there's a coating they put on that is an anti-scratch coating. Would not compare to this Willow glass. So it might be possible to shape Willow glass in a molar form so that the glasses that you're wearing are as thin as paper rather than an eighth of an inch thick or something. Excuse me, I got allergies right now.
Oops, sorry, I'm on mute. Yeah, we can all hear your allergies, Larry. It's all right. The show must go on, right? So, yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So, you think for like PVs and the evacuated tube solar heat generation thing, you think that they would use it to protect the lenses? Like, is there much issue with hail damaging those, or is that where it would come into play, or would the tubes, would it be useful to make it, or?
Well, I know if you took a solar panel photovoltaic and you dropped
And,
if you dropped a ball bearing on it, you'd completely shatter the photovoltaic and damage the solar cells as well. So no doubt, photovoltaics being damaged by hail, that's been going on for a long time. Google it, you'll find solar farms that have been destroyed by hailstorms. So yeah, if they were to replace the tempered glass or borosilicate glass with this very thin glass, Willow glass, I'm pretty sure you're going to have outstanding resilience in something like a hailstorm.
okay, cool. Sorry, I think we have a little bit of delay or something tonight, but whatever, that's how it goes. So the it's so basically what it is for people that are like, I still don't know what they're talking about, or if you came on late. Um, so basically it's a simple Pyrex way to describe it. So a lot of heat handle cold, uh, and it can be bent, not really folded, but it can be bent, right? And so you're talking about making two. How, so you would just be able to wrap the sheet around and then you would just heat it up to seal it, or?
Well, like I said, I think there's some applications I don't really want to discuss because I'm kind of working on some stuff using it, and it could be proprietary. So the thing about the glass itself, Willow glass comes in rolls that are about 50 inches wide or 1.3 meters wide, and they come in 300-meter lengths. So you can have this glass in incredibly uh, large rolls. That 300 meters, that's a pretty long roll. That's like a quarter of a mile. So when you think of it that way, what would you want to cover with that much glass? And I know Dow Corning had at one of the trade shows they were at, their entire display was covered in willow glass, and it looked really sharp because it was all bendy and had curves, but it had this brilliance to it because it wasn't a plastic uh, covered thing. It was covered with glass. It just looked different just to look at. And like I say, that's what Dow Corning, sorry, not Dow Corning, Corning is. Dow Corning is also, part of Corning, but it's the bigger, totally different arm of the corporate. Corning itself has designed it for that application, so um, it's still new. It's very difficult to find, like I say, online applications for the stuff. But right now, it's people are focusing on it, using it what it was designed for. However, I think a lot of people, let's look at the history of glass. When they invented glass, I think glass was invented for windows to start with, and then they said, "Hey, well, let's get rid of these lead drinking cups that we use that are poisoning us, and let's replace them with glass." So you've got glassware, which came from glass, and then you got bottles, jars. So jars started, glass actually started replacing tin and probably pottery for storing foods in. So uh, when they started making things with glass for storing foods in, it became a more popular choice for the shopper because when they went shopping, instead of buying a can of something that you could not see the contents in, you'd buy it in a jar. You could actually see the contents of what you're buying. So that affects the subconscious where you're going to want to buy something that you can actually see the contents. Why? Because it's food, and instinctively we're attracted to the actual food more than a picture of the food. So that is when you look at the history of glass itself, it's basically protecting something that you can actually see what it's protecting. You can actually see through it. So it makes you wonder, because this glass has got such a high temperature range, 600 C, that's pretty hot. Um, it can handle that much heat. So what kind of applications would you want to use um, glass in a high temp situation? If it was triple pane glass, would it be possible to make your stove or your oven completely out of glass so you can see what's cooking inside your oven, not through just a little window, but you could just look at your oven from where you're sitting and see what's cooking in there? It's just mind-boggling what all the possibilities for this product are. And that's the name of that tune. Hello?
So yeah, and definitely, I suppose we can look for them to just improve on what the product that they have. That's usually how these things work. So, um, what do you think were like some of the struggles that, or did you see anywhere where they were talking about some of the struggles that they had trying to develop this? Because I imagine there was a lot of broken glass around when they tried to make bendable glass, and when they went to flex it, it probably shattered a lot before they perfected it. Did you hear anything about some of those struggles or research, Larry?
Well, that's the thing about Corning is they are a big corporation, And when they're working on something like this, nothing leaks out. Nothing gets available to the public. It's almost like an Area 51 situation where you don't know exactly what's going on there. Corning is the same way. If they have any failures, it's going to stay in house. Nothing's going to make it out to the public. Why do they do that? It's just good, smart business. Why give the public anything until you've got something that you're happy with, that you're ready to bring to the market? And I'm pretty sure Corning is pretty happy about this product, and I'm sure there's IP on it. They own it. There's another company, I think they're called Schott, and they're another glass company out of Germany. And I found a similar product that they've started making. I'm not sure of all the details because it's new as well, and because it's German, they're not. I shouldn't say because it's German, but they are not releasing a lot of information about what their product is used for. But their target market, I believe, is things like smartphones, protecting your electronics. That's really seems to be the focal point, and protecting your solar cells, your solar panels, photovoltaics. Um, how it's going to be used by the building industry, that's another exciting thing. We might, believe it or not, a lot of the glass tables that people buy, a lot of those big glass dining room tables, those are actually a tempered glass. It'd be interesting to see what they could actually come up with using this thin glass that's as thin as paper and flexible. Uh, we'll have to just wait and see. I'd have to spend a few days actually thinking about applications for this stuff.
Yeah, the sky is the limit when something brand new like this comes out. Can you tell me about the type of advertising that they were protecting? Was it like paper that behind glass when they have like like at the movie theater where they put the posters behind the glass and then they change them out when the new movies come, or what kind of that kind of idea, or what kind of advertising were they looking to protect with the initial innovation of the material?
Well, as you know, the world is moving away from that type of advertising. So instead of having paper, you have a thin LED screen that is actually like watching a TV. It's not just one one thing that doesn't move or doesn't change. It's protecting electronic type of displays. That's probably the main application for it.
Okay, so they're all focused on protecting electronics, whether it's your phone or your television or these LED that do advertising. That's cool. So I'm not too sure what else we can say. Was there any other thinking about for it? I think from the creativity point of view, for artists out there,
say it loud.
Specifically like sculptors and stuff like that, people that already work with glass, I imagine that this will be mind-blowing for them, because I can imagine like if you look at all the beautiful things that they're able to create out of glass with the blowing process. When I was in Mexico, I got to visit a glass factory where they were like hand blowing like super hot, like flames everywhere, like almost like a foundry, not with any melted metal, but where they were melting this glass and blowing it into all these shapes and stuff like that. So I imagine for artists out there, specifically sculptors, if they could get their hands on some of this material, they can probably create some pretty amazing things. And isn't there, I don't know if I'm right about this, but isn't there like colored Pyrex? Because if there's colored Pyrex, which I'm thinking there might not be,
No.
if there's ability to make the material colored or to tint it, or about like potential for like 3D stained glass. Like if you've been to churches and stuff, they have the stained colored glass that's like put together. But if you could like bend the glass and attach it like a bend, like you like, yeah, 3D stained glass, like artwork that people would probably really love, because initially it'll be extremely unique. People would be like, oh wow, I've never seen anything like that. If you could take this bendable glass and create, some kind of artistic something out of it, I'm sure it would be different than anything that exists in any galleries or gift shops kind of thing right now. So there's an amazing opportunity for anybody doing. And yeah, I think that's kind of why we started this disruptive technology. Like definitely I could see myself with solder and some of this flexible glass and just going a little crazy and seeing what I could put together with it. However, my time is with recycling and solar power, and my passion for horses and music and building an internet enterprise, that's just at this point in time isn't going to happen. But potentially somebody doing that. I have a friend who does that, so definitely should be. Like so many of my close friends are not very internet savvy, so she won't be coming on the Hangout. But definitely the next time that I've talked to her, I will be pointing out to her that potentially she could corner the market with this flexible glass and her stained glass work that she does. Potentially she can develop something unique that nobody's ever seen before and cash in on it. So yeah, as I was saying, that's kind of what these Hangouts are all about. We're bringing new ideas, presenting them like they're just coming out of our heads as we're speaking. A lot of the times we don't really have an outline for the Hangout. We just kind of see something that's new and exciting in the market, potentially be able to create a new product or a new service based on technology as it's coming out. So my laptop's about to die here. So Larry, can you just talk about Hangout? And I'm going to go grab my charger.
Yeah. The I was thinking, because Willow glass doesn't have to be shipped in a flat form like standard glass, and it's bendable. It makes things quite a bit different for shipping it. If you were to imagine shipping 300 meters of plate glass or standard glass for windows or whatever application, that would be some pretty big box. Whereas for the willow glass, it's rollable. Like you can roll this stuff up, and it's so thin, you can roll a lot of it up, and you're not looking at using a lot of space. So those applications, like I was thinking, picture frames, could be replaced with willow glass. So there, now you're talking about picture frames being much thinner. Optical clarity is pretty amazing. So I've seen some picture frames that don't have glass; they have plastic, and when you hold up the plastic, you can see slight imperfections. They're a cheaper type of material for using in picture frames. So by using willow glass, you're now looking at using less material. Like, keep in mind it's paper thin, and it can do the same thing as glass. So for protecting photos and things like that, never having to worry about the. I don't think you have to worry that much about the willow glass breaking. Like, it's flexible stuff.
There
If you
you
can,
go.
you can
There's a
bend,
business for someone.
you can bend it and it doesn't
Um,
break. You know, I think that's going to turn a lot of people on. Yeah,
and
and you're
and
right.
there's a business right there, because right now there is no big corporate framer pulls and buy a picture frame, but if you want a custom framed photo, it's small business is still handling that for the vast majority of communities out there. So you could start your own framing shop offering this special willow glass, which probably will be more affordable. I think when you think about the transport costs, and when you think about the fact that it's not going to break on you, so you're not going to have all of that loss of inventory from breakage, that you could start your own framing shop using this willow glass specifically for your picture frames, and probably put your local frame shop out of business because you'll be superior in the fact that you can drop it on the ground break, or the kids can hit it with the basketball when they're playing in the house like they're not supposed to be, and it's not going to crack. It's not going to have to be replaced. So, like, as I was saying, that's kind of like where the tech all about. And to your advantage, to join us to to go back and watch previous hangouts and just think, you know, what am I interested in? Or are they talking about anything I'm interested in? And find a topic that appeals to you, and potentially there will be some kind of spark of an idea of where you could take off and run. I say for us, with all we're currently involved with, we're probably not start Willow up. Although I do really love that idea, I'm probably not going to start experimenting with three-dimensional stained glass artwork, but potentially somebody out there would be able to, this new technology that we're presenting with you, and be able to create a new product or service. There's probably going to be a need for distribution of this glass. I don't think Corning has a lot of distribution centers. They typically use outlets like, you know, for their cookware at, you know, you buy it at the big box store, grocery store, even, or wherever, in the catalog or wherever you find, I'm sure somewhere, that kind of thing. But for industrial applications that with this glass, there'll have to be transport lines, and you'll need a kind of spool to be able to carry these rolls of glass. There's potential for, like I said, for a distribution center to be able to be someone that maybe warehouses these big rolls of glass and then cuts off pieces of it for smaller businesses in the area as needed, and all kinds of potential for people to be able to and potentially create out of this new technology that's kind of just came to the marketplace and just become available for us to work with. It's pretty cool.
Yep. You know, there's also this Gorilla Glass by Corning, which is tougher than Willow Glass. It's not as flexible, but it's tougher. So I think the possibility of bonding the two together could show some pretty interesting results as well. And like I said, they're experimenting a lot with the thin film solar, so flexible, solar cells, solar panels, are kind of becoming more and more popular simply because they're flexible. They're easily shapeable around objects that are not flat.
Like, I just had another really cool idea of where this Willow glass, the Gorilla Glass sounds pretty cool for extra durability, but for just like household wise, I just had this idea of makers. You could this like furniture, like I know um, you could have a big competitive edge over, so have a superior product, because I know everybody that I know, when you go to their house, has one of these big glass cases lay from their vacation China or whatever, right? Almost everybody, when you go into their home, has these big display cases with the glass doors on it. But with this, you could make them all very arty, appeasing, and you could have the glass be curved. That these cabinet kinds of like interesting things that you could potentially, like even having like just any way that you could use the glass curvature, the flexibility of the glass to make your piece of furniture unique. People will pay extra money. Like I said, this material is probably less expensive than traditional glass and definitely less breakable. So people would see that as a benefit. Oh, not only is so I have less to worry about it getting broken when kids come in and do what they do, and potentially in furniture that might be valuable material to use, even if you're just having the flat glass doors, that Gorilla Glass you're talking about, that's not as flexible. Like that would probably be a better option for people, because I actually know somebody that when you go, their nice fancy glass cabinet, it has like 2 doors, and each door has a separate pane of glass, and one of the glasses is actually broken out and missing, so it only has the 3 pieces of glass. And so potentially with this Gator glass or the Willow glass, it wouldn't have got broken in the first place. So there's another potential opportunity for any furniture makers out there that could possibly incorporate this into your design, your stuff. If there is any more furniture people out there, I don't know. I think IKEA sells all that stuff now, so they'll probably and start adding the glass themselves. So do you have any final thoughts on this awesome glass product, Larry?
Yeah, well, getting back to the solar voltaic thing is a huge part of solar technology. Is you can buy solar cells that are or solar panels that you can get for about $1 a watt or less. But when you install them on someone's roof, that sometimes the cost of doing that can be 10 times that amount. So you end up paying $10 a watt instead of $1 a watt. With being able to unroll solar panels onto someone's roof and then fasten them onto the roof, almost like laying tar paper, that is going to make the cost much less, because the cost of installing would be so much less. You're not going to need so much really heavy duty aluminum framework to hold the solar panels on the roof. You might just need some kind of adhesive to glue them onto your roof. And the days of shingles or tar or any other material you put on the roof, gone. There's no need for it. There's no need for shingles. There's no need for hammering and nails. It would almost be like carpeting your roof. So if you could imagine carpeting your roof with solar panels, that's going to be quite a bit cheaper than the way they install them now. So knowing that, if knowing that information, uh, I know that they're already building buildings using polyurethane and silicon roofs. If you can remember what was it? The Oklahoma bombing.
I'm gonna have to get you to save that for Thursday night. We're gonna be talking about housing and these net zero houses or something about housing, but potentially we can talk about the roofing system that you've got in mind on Thursday, because we're at the top of the hour, and at this time, anybody who's watching on the Free Energy page to click the button below, starting, and we're going to have Rui Gabriel from Portugal sharing his story and talking to us about the latest and greatest in disruptive technology all in itself. If you're involved in business or you want to get involved in business, you're going to want to click the button and press play on the Empower Hour page and listen carefully to what Rui shares with us tonight. And so I look forward to seeing everybody on Thursday, same time, same place. Like I said, we'll be talking about some disruptive new technology for the housing marketplace, and so we're super excited about that. So before I go, I want everybody watching to know that I'm a firm believer that in this life, absolutely anybody can be, do, and have anything they want, or we want everything because you can. So you can ask me about that anytime, and if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you all out in the pasture or on the Empower Hour. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Larry.
See you later.